Marcel and the Shakespeare letters. Marcel is a French mouse. He's a detective and he lives in Paris. But Marcel doesn't live in Paris all year. Every November he visits London. His old friend Henry has a small flat tree. Marcel loves London, the beautiful buildings, the big black taxis, the museums and shops. He loves Paris, but he loves London too. This story is about one of Marcel's November holidays. It starts at 3 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon. Marcel is walking from Kingsbridge Station to the Henry's flat. He has two heavy bags with him. Henry's address is 42 Old Wilton Street. Marcel looked at the numbers 36, 38, and 40. Yes, here it is number 42. He sees a sign. It says Professor J.T. Barton. Marcel looks at it and thinks, that's news. Then he goes down to Henry's flat. Henry opens the door and smiles Marcel. He says, come on, come on. Hello, Henry. Marcel says, how are you? His English is very good. I am very well, and you? Yes, thanks. Good, good. Henry takes Marcel's coat. Now he says, let's have some tea. The two friends sit in big chairs. They drink tea and talk. At 5 o'clock, Marcel says, there's a new person in number 42. What is his name? Barton. Henry says, Professor Barton. He's very, very clever, and that's not all afternoon tomorrow. He's going to be famous too. Famous? Marcel looked at his English friend. Why is a very interesting story. Henry says he has some letters. They were under the floor of an old woman's house in Oxford. And Marcel says, and they're from Shakespeare to his son. Henry says, Shakespeare? Yes. Henry smiles, Shakespeare. The old lady telephoned. Professor Barton and the professor visit her. They talked about the letters and she said, I want to guide them to the British Museum in London. Can you do for me? And Professor Barton say yes. That's right. Where are the letters now? Marcel asks in the professor's flat. He's going to give them to the British Museum tomorrow morning. And the o'clock, a lot of journalists and TV people are going to be there. Suddenly, there's a big bang, and the a long wish. What's that noise? Marcel asks. He goes to the window. Then, then he remembers, oh, Firebox. Of course, it's the of November. You're going. Foes die, then a man walks down the steps from 42 Old Wilton Street. Marcel looked at him. Is that Professor Barton? He asks. Yes, Henry answered. He always goes to the cinema on Tuesday evenings. Aha, Marcel says, what do you say? Henry looks at his French friend. Then suddenly he understands. Oh, you want to look at the Shakespeare letters? He smiles. Okay, why not after tea? The two mice visit Professor Barton's flat. There's a small hall near the front door. Henry stopped in front of it here. Here we are, he says. Do you want to go in first? No, after you, Marcel says. At there in the professor's flat, it's very big with a lot of old chairs and books. There are some beautiful pictures too. Come with me, Henry says. He walks across the floor. Then they start to climb a very tall bookcase. Marcel is behind him. They go up and up and up for a long time. Then Marcel sits on Charles Dickens' book. Little Doreen, he can hear a lot of fireworks in the street. Bang, bang, bang. They go we pon wash. There's a small right button in the bookcase. Henry smiled at Marcel and pressed it. Swinging some of the books start to move. We are they moving? Marcel says. Then he understands. Ah, I understand. There's a safe. Yes, Henry says. No, you stay here. I'm going to open it. He takes some blue paper from his jeans. Then he climbs down to the safe. There are some numbers on the paper. He starts to read them. 55, 14, 62, 29, 8. Yes, that's right. After that, he puts his hand on the safe and he moves the dial to the right. 14. Suddenly, there's a very, very big bang. Whoa, Marcel. That was a big firework. Henry doesn't stop. 62. His size 29, and he moves the dial again. 8. There, that is. He smiles and Marcel and opens the safe. But then Stanley, his mouth falls open. Oh no, he says. What's wrong? Marcel asks. They're not here. Henry says. The Shakespeare letters, they're not. Marcel climbs down the box case and looks. His friend is right, the letters aren't in the safe. But does know all there's a big hole at the back of the safe and a lot of. Marcel look and Henry look and Marcel. Then they climb into the safe. Look, Marcel says. He can see you a room in number 14. Wilton Street. He can see a person too. A tall woman in a red dress. She's sitting at a table and talking on the telephone. Do you think Henry starts? Marcel says. The two miss sit and listen. That's right. The woman says in going to New York. She does everything. She writes on a notepad. Thank you. She puts down the telephone. There's bag on the bed in front of her. In it, Marcel can see some letters. The woman closed the bag after that. She walks to the door. She opens in and then closes it behind her. Henry looks at Marcel in the hot dark, says, "What are we going to do?" He asks that woman go the letters. Let's telephone the police. No, there isn't time, Marcel says. Do you know her? The woman? No, I don't. How, how usually lives in that flat? Two old women, but they're on holiday in Spain. Oh, Marcel, what are we going to do? Marcel looked into the dark flat. Come with me, he said. He climbs into the old woman's flat. Henry is behind him. The two mice run across the floor. Then they climb up a table. On the table there's a yellow light and a small white notepad. Marcel looks at it under the right. What are you going? Henry asks. Marcel doesn't answer. Then he says, I was right, can you see? Henry smiled. Yes, I cannot very well, but he says,